Hey and welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to look at the easier way to kind of rebuild our composite here in After Effects. So let's get started. So first of all, I'm going to take my MOV or the video clip. I'm just going to drag it into a new composition and let's rename this one to Easy Comping or anything you like. So now we've got our video clip in and we can play this back and you can see we've got our video clip right there and our frame rate is correct, everything is fine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag in the render, place it on top of our footage, and then I'm going to apply that extractor effect as well to extract some of the render passes. So I'm just going to load in that extractor effect, and now under the layers drop down we're simply going to select scene.combined, and that's basically going to give us, if I just solo this one layer, you can see it's giving us all our objects and it's not including the shadows. So if I look at this with the alpha layer enabled here, you can see there's no shadows, but it's got the color information and it's got the highlights and it's got all that kind of combined. So it's taking the direct and the indirect and the glossy and the transmission, all of that, combining them together. So it's basically just all those different render passes combined into one. So let's just rename this and call this combined. Alright, and next we want to bring in our shadows. So I'm simply going to duplicate this layer, move it to the bottom, and under layers I'm going to choose shadow catcher, and you can see we've got our shadow catcher in there, and then we need to change the mode from normal to multiply on the shadows. So I'm just going to rename this layer to shadow catcher, and there you can see we've got our shadows in. So if I zoom in here again, you can see if I switch it on and off, we've got those nice shadows against the walls, against the floor, everywhere where we need them. Alright, so next we're going to bring in our ambient occlusion. So I'm going to duplicate one of these layers and then move them right to the top. And then under layers, I'm going to choose scene.ao. I'm going to change the mode to multiply. Let's rename this layer to AO so we know that's our ambient occlusion. And then we just need to tell it to use the alpha from the combined, same as we did before. And now we've got our ambient occlusion in as well. So if I just kind of zoom in here, maybe to these sandbags again, we can switch it off and on and you can see there's a major difference right there. So there's also a mist pass that we can bring in, but we're going to look at that a little bit later in this course. So for now we only want to use the ambient occlusion, the combined, and the shadow catcher, and then our footage. Alright, so now we can scrub through our clip and you can see everything is looking pretty good. But in the next couple of lessons, we're going to go in and I'm going to show you how you can tweak some of these objects to kind of fit better into the scene. And just one interesting thing to note, here on the side, our little zombie coming out of this side of the building or behind the building, we don't even need to do any rotoscoping here, because I realized we placed a shadow catcher right here. And when we rendered this, it actually masked out that part of the zombie already. But what I will do once we get to the rotoscoping lesson, I will just re-render the zombie on its own layer so that I can just show you how we will rotoscope something like that if we didn't have a shadow catcher plane on the side that's actually blocking him, which is helping us a lot now. But I'll just show just some interesting thing that I noted now. So yeah, as you can see, this is the much easier way to combine some of these passes together. Obviously, this will not give you as much control, but as I mentioned earlier, usually you can get away with just doing the combined shadow catcher and ambient occlusion, and then we're going to use the mist pass later on as well. But it's just so much easier than extracting all of these layers, which will give you more control. But yeah, most of the time, this is perfectly fine. So you can go ahead and save your project, and in the next lesson we're going to start tweaking some of these layers to make them feel as if they are inside of this scene. I will see you in the next lesson.